Good evening, One Zambia, One Nation. Thank you so much for joining us on TV2 News at 18 hours. Presenting it, my name is Ellen Hambova. We have the headlines. The Constitutional Court has asked the Attorney General to use a different officer to make submissions on the petitioner's application for the court to keep custody of the election materials and ballot papers. President Edgar Lungu is tomorrow expected to officiate at Kulamba traditional ceremony of the Jawa-speaking people in Eastern Province. World Boxing Council WBC Gold Bantamweight champion Catherine Piri and her opponent Gabisela Chabalala have successfully weighed in. And now the news in detail. The Constitutional Court has asked the Attorney General to use a different officer and not the court registrar to make submissions on the petitioner's application for the court to keep custody of the election materials and ballot papers. This is because the Constitutional Court registrar is part of the court that is heading the matter. Yesterday, Constitutional Court Registrar Kelvin Limbani submitted that the judiciary is currently experiencing acute shortage of office accommodation and courtroom space for its judges and other officers. Mr. Limbani said the judiciary has no space for the custody of ballot papers and other election materials as demanded by the petitioners of the 2016 presidential electoral petition. This is contained in an affidavit in ex parte of an order of detention, custody, preservation and custody and order of interim injunction. When the matter came up, the Attorney General was asked to use different officers to file the submissions. The matter has been adjourned to Monday next week. After handing the arguments on the custody of ballot papers and other election materials, the court is expected to look at the respondent's application to have some portions of the petition struck off. The petitioners are also expected to amend their petition. This is a matter in which UPND President Hakainde Hichilema has challenged the re-election of President Edgar Lungu. And former Western Province Minister Poniso Njaulu has petitioned the election of UPND Shangombo MP Mubika in the Lusaka High Court, seeking a declaration that the election is null and void. Mr. Njaulu has told the court that the election of Mr. Mubika is invalid because of alleged non-compliance with the provision of the Constitution. He has also argued that Mr. Mubika's election is not in accordance with the provision of the Electoral Process Act number 35 of 2016. According to a petition filed in the Lusaka High Court, the former Shangombo parliamentarian has cited alleged political violence, distribution of meal alcoholic beverages as some of the electoral malpractices. Mr. Njaulu is also seeking an order that Mr. Mubika be disqualified from being a candidate in the by-election for allegedly not complying with the provision of the Constitution and Electoral Acts. Members of the clergy in Livingstone have called on the church in Southern Province to strongly unite and condemn violence that have been witnessed in some parts of the province. Angela Limwanya has details in this report.
The church in Zambia has played a major role in unifying and providing guidance on many national matters. And after the August 11 general election, the church is being called upon to stand strong and preach peace, especially in Southern Province that has recorded violence.
The Bible says we have our weapons of our warfare are not carnal. The weapons that God has given us, one of them is actually prayer. So we encourage the church to pray. We have been praying before, we are praying during, and we should continue praying even after.
Violence does not build a nation. Peace does. Wherever there's violence, there's no development. Wherever there's violence, there's no progress. Wherever there's violence, there's no success. Wherever there's violence, there is total confusion. People cannot progress. So I want to urge every Zambian to pursue peace.
The clergy in Livingstone is calling on Zambians to accept the August 11 general election outcome for the country to move on.
That Zambia being a Christian nation, there must be peace because our God is a peacemaker. Therefore, we are encouraging them to accept the results.
No man can take himself and put himself there on the highest place of authority over a nation like Zambia. Zambia is a Christian nation. We have been praying. Even before the elections, we've been praying. And even after the elections, we've been praying. Now, if God does not allow somebody to ascend to the highest throne of this nation, they should accept it. And all their followers should accept it.
For us as a church, our message is acceptance of what has happened. These are the results that we are given. And then from there, now we should find a way how we can be able to work with the leaders that have been elected or appointed to various offices. Support them. As a good citizenry, you have a part to play to make sure that development continues in the nation of Zambia.
Other men of God are encouraging all church leaders to help the citizens go through the post-election period peacefully.
We have to preach peace, because peace covers every wrong. We need to tell people about the importance of peace.
We prayed before elections, and after elections we are still praying. Now it's a matter of telling them that we are one. There's nowhere we can go. Zambia is just one. Therefore, we are encouraging them to remove fear.
Zambia has been known for being a beacon of peace and has enjoyed peace since 1964. Angela Limwanya, ZNBC News in Livingstone.
Now, youths that have been elected to various local government positions in the just ended general election have commended their political parties for adopting more youths in this year's election. They have told ZNBC News in Livingstone that their election to local government positions will provide a platform for the views of the youths on governance issues to be heard in their constituencies. Council Chairperson for Mungwe District in Northern Province, Gift Lembwe, has called on his fellow youths to take keen interests in governance issues, especially at civic leadership level. Mr. Lembwe says youths should participate and compete for various political positions to help develop the country. Another youth, Nyambe Sakabwe, who is Nsanzo Ward Councillor in Livingstone, says youths must not sit back but should take opportunities as they come and work extra hard to achieve their goals in life. And his Namatama Ward counterpart, Kelvin Mambo, says youths must have confidence in themselves if they are to make it in politics and contribute to governance of the country.
To urge my fellow youths not to relent in terms of leadership, especially where the development of this country is concerned. So my humble appeal to my fellow youths is to take that keen interest, not to waste their time in things that will not take this country forward, but to take their best interest in developing the nation.
The youths who are out there thinking that opportunities are not there. Opportunities are there. It's just that we do not go out there and seize those opportunities that we are given. We just wait to be presented, we wait for those opportunities to be presented to us on a silver plate. You have to struggle as well. You have to show confidence that you can achieve something.
Have confidence in yourself. It is something which is possible for each and every youth to do. I'll challenge them to step up and try politics.
In this year's elections, a high number of youths have been elected as councillors in various districts across the country. Now, the reformed Open Community School, ROCS, says the failed referendum will greatly affect children in rural areas. ROCS Communications Officer Nelson Banda says it is sad that education opportunities will not be guaranteed now that the referendum has failed. Mr. Banda says people who campaigned against the referendum should have thought of the many children who are suffering in rural areas. He said this when he featured on TV2's Morning Live program of News and Current Affairs segment.
Working with community schools, and most of the children that attend these community schools are from less privileged homes, less privileged communities. And with the failure of the referendum, it means that the government will not be held accountable to provide free education to those children. This was an opportunity for Zambian children to at least to have access to quality education. Now that the referendum has been rejected by the people, it means we have all failed to provide quality education to the people. Remember that the government has got an obligation to provide education to rural communities, and every Zambian has got a right of education. So it is a lost opportunity, but it is also a loss in the sense that it does not agree with the African Charter on the welfare of children to education. And
President-elect Edgar Lungu is tomorrow, August 27th, expected to officiate at the Kulamba traditional ceremony of the Chewa-speaking people in Eastern Province. Eastern Province Permanent Secretary Chanda Kasolo has disclosed to ZNBC News in an interview. Mr. Kasolo says President Lungu is on Saturday morning expected to arrive at Mukaika Palace in Katete district around 8:30 hours. He says the president will then fly back to Mfowe to continue with his working holiday after a luncheon to be hosted by Paramount Chief Kalonga Gawa-Unde. The Kulamba traditional ceremony is celebrated by the Chewa-speaking people of Zambia, Malawi and Mozambique, during which chiefs and their subjects pay homage to their Paramount Chief Kalonga Gawa-Unde. Just now we take a break. We have more stories. Keep watching. Welcome back. Now, ZNBC Media Circle has donated assorted goods to Lusaka Central Correctional Facilities female section. The goods, which range from mealie meal, washing soap and sugar, among other items, are valued at more than 15,000 kwacha. ZNBC Media Circle Vice President Mwelan Sofo has urged inmates to only trust in God as they wait to be released from prison. And receiving the donation, Lusaka Central Correctional Facility Officer in charge, Patrick Ngonga, said the goods received will go a long way in helping the inmates. Here's a report.
They have come to lend a helping hand to the inmates here. This is Lusaka Central Correctional Facility female section. ZNBC Media Circle has donated assorted goods, all valued at more than 15,000 kwacha. The goods are mealie meal, washing soap and sugar, among other items. ZNBC Media Circle Vice President Mwelan Sofu urged the inmates to only trust in God as they wait to be released from prison.
But all we want to say is that to encourage our sisters and mothers here, like you said earlier, that you know that one day you're going to walk out there. The society is always there to receive you, and just carry on as long as you are the spirit, and pray to God that everything goes well until you are out of this place.
And receiving the donation, Lusaka Central Correctional Facility Officer in charge, Patrick Ngonga, said the goods received will go a long way in helping the inmates. Mr. Ngonga, however, urged the public to also consider visiting the male inmates. He said 1 out of 10 organizations that visit the facility donate to the male section.
There is some gender biasness in the way you handle these issues at this Lusaka Central Correctional Facility. What I'm trying to bring to your attention is every time people come here, they always want to visit the women folk. What of the men folk? I'm not saying you shouldn't visit them, but you should have a balance in the way you handle these issues.
This donation could not come at a better time than this, when these female inmates are in need. Lufola Nkowani, TV2 News, in Lusaka.
The Ministry of General Education says it is mobilizing funds to replace the roof of a classroom block that was blown off by wind at Lusaka's Burma Primary School last year. Ministry of General Education spokesperson Hilary Chipango has assured the school management and stakeholders that a roof for a 1x4 classroom block will be replaced as soon as funds are available. Mr. Chipango says the ministry is committed to ensure that children learn in a conducive environment. He was speaking in an interview with TV2 News today.
We are very, very much aware and committed to rectify the problem that the school is currently facing. And we can assure the school management and all other stakeholders and the surrounding communities that have their children at Burma Primary School that we're equally concerned, and immediately the funds are made available.
And And the Netherlands Development Organization has invested about 25,000 United States dollars in the procurement of 5 soil testing kits in Lundazi and Katete districts. Agribusiness and Natural Resources Officer Heyman Lukwesa says the procurement of the soil testing equipment is aimed at facilitating implementation of SNV's Sustainable Integrated Land Management Solution project. Mr. Lukwesa says the project aims at developing a gender and business-inclusive climate-smart agriculture business model that increases income generation opportunities in rural areas through sustainable use of natural resources. He was speaking on the sideline of the orientation workshop for agro-dealers and research personnel from Zambia Agriculture Research Institute, ZARI, as well as agriculture extension officers on the use of soil testing equipment held in Chipata.
Providing this technology, which is a breakthrough, so that we can provide soil analytical services to the grassroots. There has been a challenge with agricultural systems whereby soil fertility testing takes very long, is centralized in specific laboratory.
I'm currently working on a project called Sustainable Integrated Land Management Solutions, which is SILM's project. This is a pilot project.
I think as a district, being one of the beneficiaries for this project, we are very excited. I think for a long time now, we have been using blanket recommendations as regards fertilizer application.
Now, the World Health Organization WHO country representative Jacob Mufunda says stakeholders have a role in promoting and strengthening the measles rubella eradication campaign slated for 19th to 24th of September 2016. Speaking during the stakeholders meeting in Lusaka, Dr. Mufunda said WHO is looking for the successful carrying out of nationwide campaigns to reach out to the intended target. And Mother and Child Health Director Caroline Perry said the ministry is calling on all stakeholders at all levels to use their collaborative efforts to raise awareness aimed at eradicating the disease. Dr. Perry said immunization is widely known to be a successful and cost-effective intervention that will enable government reach more than 7 million children. Meanwhile, Dr. Angel Mwiche, who presented a paper, said the ministry is working on developing demand for combined measles rubella vaccine in our communities to enable it reach its intended targets. Just now we take a break, and still to come we have sports and international news. Keep watching. In foreign news, police in Zimbabwe have fired tear gas and water cannon at opposition supporters who had gathered for a protest march in the capital, Harare. They have also beaten up people wearing T-shirts, the color of the opposition movement for democratic change, MDC. A BBC reporter at the scene says protesters are calling for electoral reforms ahead of the polls in 2018. President Robert Mugabe, 92, says he intends to stand again. In sports news, World Boxing Council WBC Gold Bantamweight champion Catherine Phiri and her opponent Gabisele Chabalala have successfully weighed in for tomorrow's fight slated for Government Complex in Lusaka. The two boxers weighed 53.4 kilograms of the required 53.52 kilograms of the category. Champion Catherine has promised to defend her title but says she will not underrate her opponent. And Gabisele says she is in Zambia to grab the title from Catherine. The South African has threatened to teach Catherine a boxing lesson in the ring. Here's a report.
This is what characterized the weigh-in ceremony for tomorrow's WBC Gold Bantamweight fight between Catherine Phiri and Gibisile Shabalala of South Africa. Catherine takes to the ring on Saturday night to defend her WBC Gold Bantamweight title for the first time since January when she dethroned Yasmin Rivas of Mexico. Both boxers were in weight at the ceremony and have declared themselves ready for the exchange of blows.
First of all, I'm very happy that I've made it in weight, and I'm very excited that my opponent is here, and tomorrow is the big day, and I'm very happy. I'm very fit for tomorrow. You know, I won't talk much today, but I'll talk tomorrow in the ring. So my advice is just to urge the fans to come in numbers tomorrow, to come and witness what is going to happen tomorrow.
Ja, ngijimile ngifit ngiready ngijimele 10 round. So ngiready.
Yeah, I train, I'm fit, I'm ready for 10 rounds. So I'm ready.
Okay, train boxer nje. Ngayazi boxing. Ngizomfundisa boxing into enjani.
Yeah, Catherine is just a boxer. So I'm going to teach a lesson. I'm going to teach a boxing tomorrow.
In supporting bouts, WBC silver champion Charles Manichi will fight the Gracias Samuel of Tanzania in the international welterweight non-title bout, while Loleta Muzea takes to the ring against Anisha Bashir of Malawi in the women's international welterweight non-title bout. Multi-talented Barbara Banda, who is also a footballer, will fight Mweme Gembo of Tanzania in the women's international flyweight non-title bout.
Zambians boxing community has always honored female boxer, because starting from Esther Piri, as I say, I'm standing here as a proud African because I have been here several times to supervise tournaments, and female boxing has always been one of the best in Zambia.
Other supporting bouts will see Sheriff Boom Boom Kasongo of
Can we have the following
fight
boxer
Chikondi
getting
Makawa
ready?
of Malawi in the international welterweight non-title bout.
Can we have
Mbia Nkanku will fight Twaha Kiduku of Tanzania in another international welterweight non-title bout. Chikom Koka, reporting for TV2 Sports News in Lusaka.
And finally, the Football Association of Zambia FAS has strongly warned national team caretaker coach George Lwandamina's to stop undermining referees. FAS referee manager Katongo Kabongo says Lwandamina's conduct against referee has been unbecoming of late. Kabongo says Lwandamina has been caught on camera boasting about his status and that referees get peanut and that he can pay them. He has since written to Zesco United to complain against the conduct of George Lwandamina. We have more in this report.
Chipolopolo caretaker coach Chicken George Lwandamina has been reprimanded by the Football Association of Zambia for undermining referees. FAS says Lwandamina is captured boasting about his status and telling off referees that they get peanuts and that he can pay them. FAS referees manager Kabongo Katongo has since written to Zesco United management asking them to speak to Lwandamina. Kabongo says Lwandamina should stop undermining referees, and this has worried soccer fans.
We hope the Football Association of Zambia, through the Referees Association of Zambia, can be able to look into it and be able to address the situation.
Zesco United Chief Executive Officer Justin Mumba says he will issue a statement on Saturday. And FAS has held an elite training course for all FIFA referees. 30 referees are taking part in the training organized by FIFA and the Football Association of Zambia.
We have actually revised lots of the laws, almost all the 17 laws of the game. So it is important that the referees, the assessors, and all stakeholders are actually working at the same wavelength.
And Kabongo says FAS is highly expectant from the referees taking part in the training.
Our expectations, the Zambian expectations, are quite high after this round of courses that we have held with the referees. Very high expectations indeed.
How's been the response so far?
The response is quite tremendous. As you know, we invited 30 referees to this elite course, and all of them have turned up.
The referees are keeping themselves abreast with the 17 rules of football that have since changed. Katushi Wadia, TV2 Sport in Lusaka.
Well, as we end the news, we look at the headlines once again. The Constitutional Court has asked the Attorney General to use a different officer and not the court registrar to make submissions on the petitioner's application for the court to keep custody of the electoral materials and ballot papers. This is because the Constitutional Court registrar is part of the court that is handling the matter. President-elect Edgar Lungu is tomorrow expected to officiate at the Kulamba traditional ceremony of the Chawa-speaking people of Eastern Province. Eastern Province Permanent Secretary Chanda Kasolo has disclosed this to ZNBC News in an interview. And finally, World Boxing Council WBC Gold Bantamweight champion Catherine Phiri and her opponent Gabisela Shabalala have successfully weighed in for tomorrow's fight slated for Government Complex in Lusaka. The two boxers weighed 53.4 kilogram of the required 53.52 kilogram for the category. We end the news. Thank you so much for watching. Join us again at 20 hours for more news. Good evening.